As My Heart Gives Out by Kira 18, Onio 3. Chapter 6. Hurry, I think it's flatlining. Nurses and doctors rush in and out of the room. A sea of moments, resonating of pure chaos, flood the space like a tide wave. Machines beep and wail loudly in his ears, but all his mind registers is the harsh beeping of his own heart against his rib cage, pulsating against his eardrums. Bakugo stares, petrified, next to him, pupils wide, dilated, and shaking, as he gazed at his fears manifesting right before his eyes. Aizawa, who had been talking to the nurse, still rushes into the room in a whirlwind, rattling the doors in a haze. They hit the walls and shudder under his abuse, but they never break. Shinsou kinda wants them to, though. Wants them to crumble and shatter like he feels he will at any moment notice. Was this it? Was this the moment his life comes crashing down on him? The door to Izuku's room opens and closes, and he finds his feet frozen on the outside, legs unwilling to cooperate with his will's most desperate needs. With each person that goes in and out, he glimpses into it, and what he sees only serves to make his body tremble harder. His sole, steady focus is the beeping sounds that seem to never end, the constant, shrill sound that makes his breath clog in his throat, nausea starting to set in. After what feels like an eternity, the beeping stutters, and finally, it stops. Clear! A voice says, sounding far, far away. Everything goes eerily quiet, as if the world itself holds its breath in expectancy. Loud, guttering sounds breaks the silence, startling him out of something akin to a daze. Bakugo's leg is propped against the wall as if he'd been kicking it. Come on! His face twists into a snarl as he punches each word with another kick. One beep, almost hesitant. Another, more steady one, followed by the rhythmic beating. It's the most beautiful sound he's ever heard in his life. He decides. He's almost dropping then and there in relief. Beside him, Aizawa does just that, dropping into a couch, hands buried into his dark hair, fingers digging into his scalp. The door opens, and a doctor walks out, heads straight for Aizawa, not even hesitating, as he crouches down in front of him, an arm reaching to squeeze the man's shoulders. Aizawa-san. He starts, voice soft, and filled with something Shinsou can't quite place. If he knows better, Shinsou would call it regret. Maybe a little guilt, but mostly relief. He's awake. Aizawa's head shoots up faster than the time it takes for Shinsou to understand the words being spoken next to him. He's up within a moment, barreling into the room, almost knocking down the man over in a haze. Shinsou's feet move in a daze behind him, not quite ready to hope yet. His finger rises to pinch at his skin on his arm, wanting for something to snap into place. His fingers rise to pinch at the skin of his arm, waiting for something to snap into place, waiting for the dream to end. His eyes trail the hospital bed, first noticing the boy's hand, actively being held by his teacher, as a man squeezes it reassuringly. Trailing higher, he sees the fast rise and fall of the teen's chest. A heavy sense of relief settles into him. At least he knows he didn't imagine that part. Finally, his gaze settles on the boy's face, and his breath hitches, eyes watering at the sight before him. Izuku's eyes are hazy, but open, looking not quite awake yet, but he's up and he's blinking, and it makes Shinsou's chest squeeze with indescribable happiness and relief. His happiness is short-lived, though, overshadowed by worry, as he notices what his panicked brain hadn't had the time to process before. Because despite the clear exhaustion and lack of energy the teen must be feeling, he's thrashing in his guardian's hold, as if he's fighting against an invisible foe, arm futilely trying to aid in his escape, as his body almost convulses in the effort to ward off any harm coming his way. Milking green, unseeing eyes flail around aimlessly in a panicked haze, wide and fluttering. Hey, Izuku, listen to me. Aizawa is whispering, softly, yet urgently. You're hurting yourself, kid. It's just me. It's Aizawa. Calm down. It's me. The man's voice seems to calm him down a little. The fast beating of the machine next to him betrays his perceived panic. Zawa? A hushed, swallowed whine escapes his lips, making Shinsou's heart constrict at the pain he hears within it. Loud. Comprehension clicks in his head, and he realizes just how idiotic they were being. Bakugo seems to have gotten it before them. As the boy rushes to turn off the lights in the room, Shinsou shuts the door. Aizawa then turns off the non-essential machines around them, knowing that even the slightest hum of electricity or air could be extraordinarily painful for the boy when he was experiencing sensory overload. Focus on my voice, sweetheart. Aizawa whispers, so low that Shinsou almost misses it. Can you do that? Can you focus on the sound of my voice? Oh. He tries to speak, voice so rough, he fails to utter the words Shinsou knows are fighting to break out. Shh. Don't tire yourself out, problem child. Aizawa soothes, his other hand coming up to stroke his ward's hair, a gesture that seems to settle his nerves further. Go back to sleep, okay? You need to rest. I'll explain everything when you wake up again. Shinsou almost wants to protest right there and then. He wants to shout that he couldn't do that, couldn't go back to sleep because what if he never woke up again? He moves, as if to approach the two, but a hand settles itself on his shoulder, holding him back. Bakugo's eyes are solemn as he shakes his head. An unspoken conversation erupts between them. Shoulders slumping, he steps back again. Izuku's eyes flutter shut, and he falls asleep instantly, as if he'd been fighting against the urge this entire time, and maybe he had been. They stay there for a few more minutes, reveling in the relative silence. The steady beeping of the heart monitor is, for once, a welcome sound. The doctor clears his throat from his place near the entrance, and they don't hesitate to meet him back outside. A couple of nurses take the opportunity to head back into the room, probably intent on checking that everything was running smoothly. It was touch and go there for a while. We think that the sudden jump in awareness may have been too much for his heart to handle, he states, tentatively. However, I believe that we've traversed the storm. He's not completely out of the woods yet. His recovery will be hard, especially on his mental state. But I do believe that the worst has passed. Aizawa nods, his shoulders losing some of their tension. Thank you, doctor. The man turns as if to leave, but seems to hesitate at the last moment. Aizawa-san, he states, voice low, as a fragile smile stretches his features. I'm glad I was wrong. He doesn't wait for a response before he marches through the door and out of the corridors. Can we? Shinsou starts to inquiry, but his teacher beats him to it. I'll stay with him. You boys, go and tell the rest of the class, all right? When he sees they're reluctant to leave, he adds, you can come back afterwards. I'll go tell the extras. You can both stay. Bakugo scuffs as he follows the doctor out of the door. Ryu wouldn't describe himself as an emotional person. He made decisions based on logic and cold, hard facts, making it his life mission to stay as level-headed and composed as possible. However, he found that when it came to a certain Midoriya Izuku, all his well-honed and carefully collected logic seemed to fly out the window. The movements he hears, the anarchy on the internet news mentioned in the kidnapping and suspect recovery of a certain vigilante, he'd up and run out of the room, his wife startled as he rushes past her into their bedroom, bustling around the room as he packs his bag in a haze, mind whirling with the information and the possible scenarios he might find on his arrival in Japan. He figures she's seen the news because the next thing she knows, she's fitted across the room and helps him. Her phone is in her hand as she books him the first ticket out of the country. Destination, Japan. Grateful, beyond words, he can only take a minute to smile up at her. Once again, he's reminded of why he fell in love with her all these years ago. She hugs him, on his way out, his walking stick in her hand, as she whispers a soft, "Be safe," in his ears. Her words, unfortunately, do nothing to quell his rising panic. The next time Izuku wakes up, the world around him isn't as loud and overwhelming as the first time. His powers seemed almost muted as he focuses on his surroundings. It feels like deja vu, as if someone played an old tape taken from the worst moments of his life and pressed play. Waking up to the harsh whirling of machines and the soft thundering of electricity in the building feels all too familiar. The IV drip that echoes with each drop of liquid takes him back to the first time he woke up in a similar environment all those years ago. He tries to move, tries to right himself up. Laying on the hospital bed for who knows how long has made something twinge uncomfortable in his back. He tries to lean to his side and get some leverage with his arm to push himself up. Maybe if he could just... His mind screeches to a halt. Ice spreads through his body in an instant. It takes his brain to reboot itself. A discomfort in his chest sets deeper, a heavy sense of panic rising to the surface, threatening to suffocate him with its sheer thickness. His brain blares, silent alarms all at once, screaming at him that something was wrong. 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 Something was missing. He tries to move again, and he finds that his arm doesn't respond to his command. His breathing is becoming too shallow, too harsh. His other hand hurts, but he moves it to his will. He can't bring himself to feel relieved as he painstakingly moves it to his other side. He hesitates for only a moment before bringing it down. A tiny, distant, buried part of him already knows what he'll find, or more accurately, what he won't. Instead of touching flesh, fabric, or even a cast, his hand meets the scratchy texture of the hospital sheet. He pats emptily at the space, almost frantic, his body now semi-hunched in its side, as he tries to find something he can't bring himself to accept isn't there anymore. Because surely life wasn't that cruel. Surely he wouldn't lose even more of himself in his very short lifespan. Tears fall down his unseeing eyes, dripping down his cheeks as he burrows into the folds of the bed. His stomach aches as he moves. His wound stretches with the action. His hands leave its futile search and rest on his chin, gripping at his shirt with a white-knuckled grip, scrunched up the fabric within his grasp and twisting as if to ward off the pure panic he felt constricting his lungs. Distantly, he hears a thud and footsteps, but his mind barely registers it, too caught up in the rising panic attack to pay it any mind. Two arms hold on to him and bring him into a warm embrace. Movements, careful, as if to not jostle his wounds too much. He tries to struggle, too disoriented, to make out the perpetrator. "It's all right." A rough, familiar voice speaks up, making his struggles cease instantly. "It's okay. You are okay." Despite his efforts to close himself off, to show no further weakness, he finds his resolve crumbling right there and then. Sobs rack his frame as he melts into the warmth and lets go for the first time in forever. His hand, his one remaining hand, seeks out in its confines between their bodies and snags onto the man's shirt, hanging onto it like it's his lifeline. And maybe it was. Aizawa seems to understand the reason for his distress without having to be told. The man simply stays there, holding on to him, just as desperately, as if Izuku was going to disappear if he let go. He thinks that maybe he should have. He regrets that thought as soon as it comes forth, his mother flashing in his mind. Sorry. His voice is scratchy and sharp against his throat as he apologizes for his momentary weakness. He tries to swallow, but he finds that his mouth is as dry as his words. His arms, surrounding him, back away, and he finds himself missing the warmth. A glass of water has landed on him instead, making him wonder if his guardian was a mind reader. He gulps down the glass and holds it out, pleasantly surprised when it's taken only to be refilled a moment later. Slow and steady, kid. You've been sleeping for a while. Your body isn't used to it anymore. Taking only a few smaller sips, he hands back the half-full glass to the teacher. Conscious of the sound the cup makes as a man sets it on the bed. Conscious of the sound the cup makes as a man sets it on his bedside table. How long? His words feel heavy against his tongue, as if the mere act of uttering them takes a Yearlican effort on his part. 3 weeks, going on 4. You've made a lot of people worry, problem child. Sorry. No, don't apologize. Just promise me. He takes in a deep breath. Promise me you'll stop being so irreparably reckless in the future, that you'll learn that your life matters just as much as any one of ours. Izuku stays silent at that, looking ahead, and only nods when he feels the man's eyes bore into him. Is everyone okay? Shin. He coughs slightly. Oh, okay. They're fine. Everyone is safe. I sent Shinsou and Baku to the cafeteria a little while ago to join the others. Just focus on yourself right now, kid. Okay? Focus on healing and resting. Okay. He whispers, fiddling with the sheets with his hand. Do you have any questions? Do you want me to call the doctor? No need, Aizawa-san. I'm right here. Hiro says, from his place at the door. Aizawa had left it slightly ajar in his haste to enter the room. I'm glad to see you're awake, Midoriya-kun. Izuku tilts his head to the side, mind still too foggy to discern too much of the world around him. The exhaustion from his earlier panic attack only now starting to set in. That voice, though. Hiro-san? We love Hiro-san. We love Izuku being awake from his coma. We love that we're probably gonna get Izuku talking with Ru soon, hopefully. I love Hiro-san. Hiro-san is my favorite. Woo! Hiro-san! It's absolutely hilarious seeing this, and you know, I was so worried about it the other day. I'm so happy that he's okay and that, false alarm, he didn't die. Kira 18 did not do this to us. But unfortunately, we have 4 more chapters till we have to wait for the next update, and I'm unfortunately going to be waiting with you guys. Unfortunately, I don't have access to my time machine. I kind of lost it the other day, so oh well. In all seriousness, I really am enjoying this series so far. I really, really like it. Kira 18, thank you so much for letting me podfic your, fanfic, and do not feel pressured to update regularly. You read at your own time. You hear that, people in the comments too, viewers? All right, we're gonna let Kira 18 cook, okay? We're gonna let them cook. Let them cook, because they be cooking good shit, all right? And sometimes a good 5-star dinner or 5-star meal, 5-course meal, 5-star 6-course meal takes some time, okay? Sometimes it takes a lot of time prepping and cooking. So we're gonna what? We're gonna let who cook? We're gonna let Kira 18 cook. Exactly. We're gonna let them cook. And let's see, what chapter? Chapter 7 is called Chapter 7. Wow. Oh my god, I didn't know that. The one that's going to be taking over this series, as I mentioned before, is going to be, what was it called? Adding to the Flock? Hold up, I'm opening up my notes right now, trying to see what was it exactly called. Adding to the Flock, yes, which is the continuation to Mockingbird and Lyrebird. So, yeah. I cannot wait to see more of this series, and I really hope that we get an Izuku and Rue meeting. I also really hope that Izuku lives till the age of 85. Please and thank you. Do I think that's gonna happen? No. But let me be the Lulu, okay? Sometimes the Lulu is the Salulu. Alright, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.